This is where we left off on our second class, so this will be the third class using the same drawing, seed1.dgn. What I'm going to do right now is go delete these. I don't need these construction lines anymore. I could turn them off their particular level, but in this case I'll just get rid of them. I know everything lines up. So there's our top, front, right side view. We have our title block. Do a fit view here. And we have a sheet view for an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. What we'll do today is go finish up the title block. So I'm going to go to that view. We're going to work in the title block level. As a matter of fact, it looks like I didn't have it in there, so I'm going to go to, if you have things in the wrong level, we'll just go to our change tool, 5-1. Select the color, the level, and say title block. Just left click here, 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 and here. And now we see title block has elements in it. In the lower left hand corner, we're going to build our title block. It's going to be up, let's say it's only an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, so we'll go up 1 inch. Let's go check our settings just to make sure we're still. Go to settings, design file. Working unit still in inches. Must have done a save settings. Control F. So smart line Q1 right down here on the bottom. I'm going to hit my middle mouse button for a tentative snap. Hit the letter O. Go up 1 inch. Left click. And I'm going to pull this to the left, and let's go 3 inches. Pull it straight down. I'm going to hit the enter key and just left click right here. So now let's zoom in on this area, and what we'll do is come down first of all, middle mouse button, O, come down 0.25, and we're just going to draw a horizontal line. Again, I'm going to hit the enter key, lock the axis, and just left click here. This is where the title of our drawing will be. Now let's just take that line and we'll copy it down 0.2 inches and then 0.15, 0.15, and 0.125. There we go. So it's 0.25, 0.2, 0.15, 0.15, 0.125, and 0.125. Let's take our smart line again. I'm going to hit a tentative point right here, hit the O button, and go over 1 inch. Actually, I want to go over 0.75, so I'm just going to hit my back key and 0.75. Oops, messed that up. Hold on. O, 0.75. Hit the enter key. And then what we're going to do is just trim this. And one of the tools we can use for this, which is kind of neat, is to go to our modify tool. And if I just hold my left mouse button down, I can just scan down through this. And what I want to use is my IntelliTrim tool. Instead of trimming one element or two elements to their intersection, we'll use IntelliTrim. And what it asks us to do down here at the bottom of the screen, it says identify element to trim to. Just left click on this, and then it says create a line crossing all the lines you want to trim. So if I just hold down my left mouse button and drag through all of these pieces of line, it trims it back to the vertical line. And this is the one case where you drag the line through the portions of the line that you want to delete, to take out. So if we do a fit view now, there's our title block for an 8.5 by 11. My screen's kind of stretched here, so it is a little bit distorted, but I did that just so we could make sure we get everything visible on your screen. Let's go back to our title block sheet file now, 8.5 by 11. Left click here. What you notice now is the lines I just drew now are showing up in this sheet file. And what we'll do is go down and fill in some text now. We haven't actually done any text, so we're going to take our text tool, which is the first A, place text. You can see it comes up just like a word processor, and right now under method is by origin, which means the handle, whether it's left justified, right justified. Text style none. We don't have any text styles in this drawing, but we're going to make some. Go to your magnifying glass, just left click on this, and we're going to create a new text style now. And this one's going to be called point 2, which is the size text. For the font, we're going to use a Lucinda Sans Unicode. The size is going to be 0.2, as in 0.2 inches, top and bottom, and this one's going to be center justified. And we're going to make the color of this blue, color 1. Line spacing, let's put in 0.05. Let's try that. This is if you're using multiple lines. And then we hit the little disk here for saving. Let's create another one by just copying this one. We're going to call this one 0.12 text, and all we have to do is change the size, 0.12, and we'll change our color to red. And for now, let's just leave that as our text sizes. Hit the save tool. They go from blue to black when they're saved. Close this out, and now when we come over here, we can see that we have a 0.2 text. If I just start typing here, it's going to be, my title is going to be orthographic. I'll do all caps. Exercise. And when I pull my mouse down, you can see, it doesn't quite fit, but let's just call it orthographic EX.1. We may have to go a little bit smaller on that one. That's okay for now. We'll leave it there. Now let's change our text to 0.12, and we'll type in workbook exercise 20, exercise page 20. Let's see if that'll fit. Oh yeah. And for now, let's just put, let's actually go create another text size, and we'll just copy this one. This one's going to be 0.07 inches. We're going to change this to 0.07, and this one's going to be left justified. Say left center. Hit the save tool, and the color will stay red. So now we'll change our text to 0.07. Close this out, and we'll type in name, colon, and I'll type in my name. You see how that's left justified, so it's going to go down into this portion of the screen. Class, and this is going to be CET. Let's put a hyphen here. CET 120. And we'll say A for the first class. If you're in the second class, put in B. Let's put in a date, and this is let's say 9/7-09. And we'll just leave the bottom blank. This square over here is if there was some kind of graphic or a logo. We may put something together later, and this is just our first pass, so we can always update this later. So we'll just leave that there. We can do a fit view and see our whole title block. So basically we have a title block. We have it named, and why did I do the text in the sheet file? Because we're going to eventually use this as a seed file for other projects. So whenever I do a new project, once we get into the seed file, we do all of our dimensioning, we do all of our text. All of our notes are in the seed file, or the sheet file, I'm sorry, so that everything is consistent. Now we need to bring in the orthographic projection and put it on this sheet of paper. Because those boxes are 12 inches by 12 inches and we have 3 of them, we need to scale this down. If it was half scale, they'd actually be 6 inches, but even that is too big. Quarter scale, they'd be 3 inches. We might fit them in at quarter scale, so let's try that. The second tool up here at the top is our reference tool. Just left click on that. You can already see that we have the title block in here. We're going to attach same drawing, seed1.dgn, in your project, so it's actually attaching from the drawing you're working in. Just double click on it. In this case, we want our default model, which has our orthographic projection. We're going to put in the top view. Now here's our detail scale. Let's try it at quarter scale. Let's see, where do we find quarter scale? 1 inch equals a foot. This is all architectural. 1 to 5, 1 to 2.5. Is that quarter? Let's try that. That's too small. So let's take a look here. See what I'm doing wrong. We can hit our properties tool. Four to 1 doesn't work. Let's try 1 to 4. They get them backwards. There we go. 1 to 4 would be our quarter scale. So we can pretty much fit these in here. And whenever you do a reference file, you have to move it with the tools that are in the reference toolbox. Here's move, copy, scale, rotate, mirror. In this case, we just want to move it. And we can't quite get it in there. So, and plus we still need to do dimensions. So let's double click on it again. This time we'll go 1 to 8, which will actually make it even smaller. So that's fine. We can work with that 8 scale. Close that reference tool out. Sorry for the delay on that. And what we can do is put our scale in our title block now. One way to do that is just copy this text down. We know that's left justified. And we just come over here to our text edit tool. Third one in, A to B, double click on the text, and we're just going to say scale quarter, or sorry, EIG, EIGTH, can't spell eighth. All right. There, how's that? Scale 1/8, and just left click on the screen. So now we come in here, we see we have these text sizes, and what we have left to do now is label the drawing. And we could actually go back out. Watch what happens now if I go back to my default drawing, and I'm just going to grab my top view and I'm going to move that up just a little bit. And I'm going to grab my right side view, still keeping everything aligned, move that to the right. When I go back to my sheet view, it kind of spreads things out a little bit so we have a little bit more room. Let's label our views first using our text tool. And we're going to use our 0.12 text. It's going to be top view. Place it just underneath the top view. And I just right click, just hit a reset, and I can just start typing my next text, front view. We'll put that down below this side, and then right click and we'll type in right side view, and this one will just pull it up over the title block a little bit. Okay, so we're getting there. Next, we're going to dimension this. So just like the text, we have to create a dimension style, which is pretty easy. We just go to our dimension tool, which is down here under the F tool. The first one is dimension element, and we'll use that first. You can see again we have a style that's none. Now let's hit the magnifying glass and create a new style, and we're going to call this one, because this is a mechanical piece, 12 inches by 12 inches, let's just call it mechanical. Our text is going to be the 0.07 text that we created. All of this stuff will just follow in line. Our format, the orientation wants to be horizontal. We want it in line. This is for the text. Justification will be center left is fine. Text frame, no, we don't need that. And that takes care of our text. Let's go to geometry. And again, if you're watching this as a video, just stop at any time and you can go try this stuff and then come back and start the video again. That kind of brings your multitasking tools into play, because I'm kind of rushing through it. Normally a class that takes an hour and 50 minutes to go through, starting and stopping and helping people out, I should be able to explain everything we're going to do in an hour. You can either watch this whole thing and then go try it, or you can stop it at intervals and then go do the work yourself. Okay, so under geometry, I think we're all set here. Let's go with a filled arrowhead, and let's go to units. In our units, we're going to use our working units, which is master units, our accuracy to 2 decimal places, and we could have secondary units if we wanted to also show it in metric or something like that. Let's go to symbology. What I want to do is make sure that the color on all of these dimension items are red, so they show up as a thin color. Okay, and I think everything else is probably in good shape. So we'll just say hit the little save tool. See, this is blue. When I hit the save tool, it's going to turn black. So if I want to take that tool now, dimension element, I can just left click here, and I got to change to my mechanical. There we go. Now we're seeing 12 come up. Does it look right? Looks good, but I think I want to put the inch mark on there. So let's go back here. We want MU label. So it's going to show inches. And I think I want to say MU label and checked working units, because I probably don't have the inch mark there. We'll just say inches, and instead of IN, I want it to put the inch mark. Whoops. Hit my tab key instead. There we go. Put the inch mark. Close it out. Notice this went to blue again. As soon as I made a change, it said, hey, that's not saved. Just left click. It says, do you want to update all of your existing dimensions? I say yes. Close this out. Yes, I want to save it. And see, now we have the inch mark. So now let's go back and do some more dimensions. Remember, we said everything is horizontal and in line. So see, this line was by itself. Now I want to dimension this. I could come up here and do the 4 inches, or we can select the second dimension, linear, which requires that we find the points on the drawing, left click, and then pull it down, which probably looks a little bit better, and then we can just delete this one. We can go back, do as many of these as you can see how easy it is to do these dimensions. That should pretty much do it for this one. We come down into our front view, and I can use my pan tool here and just pull this up, or you can also hold down your shift key and you can pan. If I'm in the selection tool, you can pan dynamically, but you can also use this pan tool to pan around. So we'll go right back to this tool, start looking at our vertical dimensions. And again, we don't need to duplicate any of the dimensions that are up on the top. We can show an overall. I think everything else is kind of shown up there anyway. Come over onto the right side view, and we're going to dimension here. We'll dimension here. We'll just stack that out. 12 inches high, 3 inches here, 3 inches here. Now this one is dimensioning the angle. Let's see if we can do this one. Dimension angular, and we want, says it's going to be 45 this way. We can just put it like this. Gives us our 45. We can also dimension the length of this. You see how everything here is perpendicular. We can change this from view to true and then just pull this dimension right off the angle. And again, it looks a little distorted, but it won't when it actually prints out. So that's the distance of this 45-degree angle if we take 3 and 3 off on this side. The other thing we could do is not dimension that, and if I left this dimension as view, yeah, that's all set. Change it to view. I can pull this up. Let's go up above, and I can pull it. You just looks at your mouse and sees which way you're pulling it, so the same tool can either pull it vertical or horizontal. So at this point we're done. We've got our name on the paper, everything's in place. What we're ready to do now is print it, and we're going to print this to a PDF file. So that's the final portion of the assignment. We're going to do a Control P for print, and you can see it shows us what the printout's going to look like right here as a letter size paper. You can see it's trying to print to my facilities management printer. I'm going to go to File, and you should do this too. Select Bentley driver, and what we want is the PDF plot config, which, I mean, this menu should come up as standard. And now we're printing to a PDF file. We're going to print the sheet automatically. True color is fine. You can see down here it says scale 1 inch equals 1 inch, which means it's going to print out to full scale. Even though it's an 1/8 inch scale, it's scaling the document and the dimensions, so we don't really need to worry about it. Now here's where our pen table comes in. Go to Pen Table, New. And we want to put this in our utility directory, so I'm going to go to, in my case, My Documents, CT120CJ, Utilities, and we're going to call this one My Pens CJ, and just hit enter. Now, here's how you can see that one tab says Element Selection Criteria, and the other tab says Element Output Actions. If I double click on this first one, I'm going to call it Dimensions. And I'm just going to say anytime you see a dimension, I want your element output to be color 0, width 0. Okay? Now, we go back here and we go Edit, Insert New Section Below. This one's going to be called White. Do the same thing here. Edit, Insert New Section Below. This one's going to be called Blue. Edit, Insert New Section Below. This one's going to be Green. Edit, Insert New Section Below. This one's Red. Edit, Insert New Section Below. This one is going to be Yellow. Okay, go back up to White. Element Selection Criteria is color 0. Blue, we can do all the element selection criteria first just to make it quicker. Blue is 1. Green, the color is green. Okay. Red, color is 3. And yellow, the color is 4. So those are the only 5 colors we're actually drawing with in this portion of the exercise. And we say File, Save. Close this out now, and when I do a preview with this little paintbrush now, you'll notice that everything but the green turned to, oh, I know what I did wrong, sorry. White, element output, color white, width for line width is going to be, say, 4. Blue, color white, this is the output now, so everything's going to be black and white. 3, color 2, or color 0, weight 2, And red will be color 0, width 0. And yellow is a little different. We're going to go color, and we're going to give it a dark gray like this, 208, width 0. And now do a file save. Close this out. Now when I refresh it, and you can do a little print preview over here and actually stretch this out to see what your drawing is going to look like. You can see that our dimensions are all black and white. The line weight is relatively thin. I think if we were able to print this out, we'd see how the white is darker than the green. See how those kind of set in the background? Everything looks pretty good. We close this out. We're ready to print. So we're going to say print. And I'm going to put this into our, oops, got locked up here a second. There we go. Drop this down, go to my documents, CT120CJ, and actually let's create a new folder here. We're going to call it homework. Double click here. We're going to call this assignment 1 or assign 1, and then C Junkins. Make sure you put your name as part of your title so that it doesn't overwrite somebody else's. Hit save. So it's actually printing to a PDF now. We can close this out. I'm just going to minimize Microstation. Minimize that. And we'll just go to My Documents or Windows Explorer. Go to CT120CJ. There's our homework. There's our assignment 1. And we'll open up this PDF file. We always want to take a look at it and make sure before we dump it into our homework assignment that it's right. There we go. So I still need to work. Apparently my arrowheads are still coming out red. So I think I know why. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go back. That's why we double check it. Go into my Microstation. Control P will load up our pen table. Go to pen table edit, and I think I want to go to my, oops, that's a different pen table. I want to go to my documents, CT120CJ, utilities, my pens. There we go. I think I need to select this one. Edit, clear types, and file save. I think I needed this dimension down here. So now we close this out, refresh it, do a quick scan. It looks like they're still showing up red. I can't tell. Alright, let me say pen table edit. Let's see if we can figure out why. Element output, fill color 0, file, save. Close it out, refresh it, take a look. Now they're black. There we go. Now we hit print again. This time we're going to go to my documents, CT120, homework. I'm just going to click this, hit save. It says, do you want to replace it? I say yes. So I took the time to go back and make a correction rather than just saying that's fine, even though it was a fairly minor item. If we go to our Windows Explorer now, look under our homework folder, what we're going to see is a better drawing. We can zoom in on this one and see that our line weights, even though they're a little thick, we're going to fix that in our next assignment, but that's what we want. Thick, medium, thin line weight, top view. We can check everything out, make sure it's good. Some of this text is a little blocky, but again, we're going to fix that on the next assignment. Think it looks good. Now, what do we do with it? Close this out. I'm going to go over here, go into our first class folder. Where is my first class folder? Help me out. First class. Old and blind. Log in. My network at home is a little slow. Here's our CT130. Let's open that up. I'm going to right click and create a new folder. Maybe not. New folder. Here we go. And we'll rename this one Homework 1. Double click. Take my assignment from my Windows Explorer, drag and drop it. There's assignment 1, C. Junkins. Close this out. So I'm going to see everybody's assignment in that folder. If I close this out now, double click, go to Homework 1. There's my assignment 1. I can just double click on it. It'll download it. It's read-only anyway. Brings it right up on the screen for me. So that's exactly what you're going to do when you finish this assignment. Go out, print it, set up your pen table, print it, dump it in that homework folder. There'll be a homework folder for each of the classes, the first and second. So I think if you can get that done, that should take care of us for Wednesday, our third class. And okay, I will talk to you on the fourth class. Thanks. Bye.